Anything that happens under the gold dome is the way it should be. We put so many mandates and so many requirements on the municipalities and school districts. It probably, it would add up to hundreds of millions of dollars that we really don't have to spend. We're trying to have a conscientious effort. We asked the League of Municipalities last week to again give us a list of unnecessary and wasteful mandates. We're hopefully getting that list back. The group that did not give us really what I would have hoped to have gotten as far as mandate lists were the school districts. We did a request through the Education Department and through our Committee on Education to ask school districts to provide any unnecessary mandate and give us the listing. Out of my district, the 30th district, there's 15 towns, probably 20 school districts, because there's K-6s and there's K-12s and there's just 7 to 12 districts. So there's a mixture of districts. I got 2 responses on mandates. That was pretty frustrating. The issue of hiring freezes, everybody now wants to say we have a hiring freeze and we've done this. Well, I can guarantee there's no hiring freeze in the governor's office. There are so many people in the governor's office right now that they share desks. And the 10% rehire rate is surely not applicable to the front office. I can assure you of that. And I've said that to people, and I've said that to the governor, I've said that to the press, and nothing happens. But on the flip side of that, I have been a very strong proponent of filling federally funded jobs that we have that go unfilled. So we have a litany. We have department after department that have unfilled federally funded positions that could be used to relieve some of the pressure. The South Jersey Chamber of Commerce, which is probably one of the most effective voices for business in the state of New Jersey, has repeatedly come up with a whole host of suggestions for state government to improve its practices and save money. One major problem we have in the state government, and why this layoff or furlough issue will become rather thorny as we move forward, is the transferability within departments. Because of state contracts and because of civil service, where one department may have an opening, a person from another department can't switch into that department because of either union contracts or civil service. It makes it very difficult, and we need to do legislation that allows people to be transferred from one department to the other in a similar job classification. I'm not talking about, significantly different. Last year, the Attorney General's office wanted to lay off 300 secretarial kind of individuals, and I knew that motor vehicle was hiring people to fill positions at motor vehicle offices. So I said to the Attorney General, why don't we just transfer some of the individuals that work in your office who are probably technically skilled, who could probably do that work quite easily. She says, I can't do it because of civil service and the unions. So it is an immense problem. Lou Greenwald, who's the chairman of the Budget Committee, I talked about that yesterday, about possibly joining together and putting in some legislation that'll do that. There are a number of other items, and I don't know how long you want me to talk or ask questions. I can do both at the same time if you want me to do that. Sure, whatever you want to do. I tried to stay calm today, actually.
I'm going to direct the first question. You spoke at length about education.
Yes.
And I do agree with you that the education system in New Jersey, isn't declining. It is suffering. I substitute teach at Harrison High, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that when I walk into the school to substitute teach, that I do notice that, the kids are, aren't being taught the right way, that there's an apathy among the teachers, and I feel that that's due to the tenure, that within 3 years they receive tenure. So my question to you is, what can be done in order to ensure that the money being spent on education is being spent adequately and responsibly?
It's going to be basically a combination of things. Number one, the legislature is going to have to step in and allow the Department of Education and local school boards to be able to have more authority to deal with the problems. Look, and I was a school teacher for 8 years. My wife was a school teacher in Philadelphia for 35 years. There are good teachers and there are bad teachers. The problem right now with tenure laws and everything else, you can't get rid of a bad teacher. That's a fact. Anybody tells you it isn't. I mean, somebody has to do something so atrocious and that you can't get rid of them. The tenure laws have to be revised to a degree that you can get rid of bad teachers. You have to understand that the political pressure in Trenton by the NJEA and in some cases the AFT, especially in Newark and some other, is tremendous. And that was one of the reasons why there was no significant change in pensions or benefits the last time we tried to do that, because of the lobbying effort of NJEA.
Okay. Any other questions? Question from that side of the room?
What is your view of the consolidation of municipalities and services? The extreme form of entire municipalities, but also individual services.
Okay. I have been a strong advocate of regionalizing services where it's practical, sharing services where it's practical. Back in the mid-'80s, my political career almost ended quite suddenly because I had the audacity to take two failing sewer systems, put them together, get $20 million in grants, and had an outraged citizenry because I was dumping our sewage in with the adjacent community sewage, and was subjected to a recall election because I had the audacity to do a recall. And let me say this to you, and half of the sewage from the other town was in our sewer plant anyway. So the lunacy of that argument that I had to face basically told me that I was willing to take that burden on. I was willing to do what I had to do. As a matter of a piece of information, there hadn't been a sewer rate increase in our sewer authority since 1991.